In the wide world of Pokemon, many stories have been lost. Ask any professor or scholar on the matter and they won't give you the full picture. Not out of malice or hiding the truth, but because over the course of several millennia, these stories have just been lost to time. One of these stories is how humans and Pokemon came to be. Our story begins in the void of space, back when there was no worlds, no living beings, just pure chaos and energy. As time passed, a great mass of this energy, all kinds, coalesced into one form, an egg in the middle of the void. The egg, existing at the center of the void, reshaped the chaos around it, and as a result of this energy displacement and the space around the egg changing, the egg would continuously shake, until eventually the elements that formed the outer shell broke off into individual shards, and what was left was the being that lay at the core, Arceus. Arceus awoke. But before it had any chance to understand its surroundings, it seemed to have attracted the ire of a group of giants. These giants, elemental beings, each formed by the pieces that held the egg together. The liquid yolk that protected Arceus as it formed became the Giant of Water. The steel and stone that formed the egg's shell became the giants of metal and ore, and the supernova that existed between the shell and the yolk became the giants of flame and electricity. Existing near the core that birthed Arceus were two other cores, one of light and one of darkness. These cores would form into giants as well. These giants would seek to destroy Arceus. For what purpose, no one would know. It's saddening that the elements that came together to birth this very being would now seek its destruction. Arceus had one goal from then on: find a safe haven in the midst of the chaos. After being brutally worn down by the giants, Arceus would barely escape with its life. The being, now finding itself in a secluded area, began devising a plan to bring an end to the giants, if not only for its own safety. It had no idea how to even attempt this, however. It was a being just born into existence, into a universe it doesn't understand. It would have to observe the giants in order to understand them. Arceus went back to the spot of its birth, where the egg hatched and where the giants rest. Not to challenge them again, but to merely observe their habits. As time passed, Arceus would return to the spot, avoiding detection and leaving when it would no longer feel safe. This cycle would last for eons before Arceus felt it was ready to once again challenge the giants. It decided it would have a better chance if it took these titans on one by one rather than all at once. So it decided to focus on one target, learn everything it could about it, and develop a strategy. Arceus felt confident in its abilities and lured out the Giant of Light to a secluded location. These giants, for some reason, were predisposed to trying to take down Arceus on sight. So all it had to do was appear visible to the Giant of Light and lead it away from the others. Taking on the Giant of Light proved to be no easy feat, however. While it was much easier than taking on a horde of them at once, just one giant was full of enough strength to take Arceus down if it made one wrong move. However, after a hard-fought battle, Arceus won out in the end, using a majority of its strength to deal the final attack. Arceus didn't just win the fight, though. It gained a new power as well. The entire right side of its body began to glow with the same light the giant possessed. It felt to Arceus as if it had been reunited with a piece of itself that it had lost. It knew immediately how to use its newfound power, as well as the strengths and weaknesses that the power held. The power urging it to go after the Giant of Darkness next. With light by its side, it found the fight with the Giant of Darkness to be much easier, taking it down with less time and using less energy than it took to beat the Giant of Light. Arceus figured that these giants that form the outside of its egg were actually just different parts of it, and once defeated, will reform as one being along with Arceus. The beings broken will soon coalesce as they did before. With this newfound knowledge began another shift in appearance. This time, the left side of its body was completely consumed by darkness. Arceus fought more and more battles against these giants. More changes on its body arose, though being minor in comparison to the major shifts that the light and darkness giants brought to its body. It began to notice with each newly acquired ability would come a series of strengths and weaknesses. When it took down a giant of a specific element, such as fire or water, the power it would gain would have an increased proficiency against another giant of another element. It used the electrical energy obtained from the thunder giant to defeat the giant of water, and used that energy to defeat the giant of fire. It wasn't long before these giants were defeated. As Arceus attained the last power it would need, it felt a strange shift in the energy around it. The unused energies from the bodies of the giants it had slain coalesced once more to form an even greater being, capable of using all of the elements, just like Arceus. And now, Arceus, using all of its newfound strength, must take down a being just as strong as it was.